over the world. So we have done quite a lot of training as a regulator to make sure that our staff use AI. And we are looking also forward to pushing this to the sector so that we are able to collect information, which again, AI will really assist us in collecting and making sure that that information is analyzed well so that we are able to make use of it for us to get an informed decision out of it.
Thank you very much. What I want to say is that first, the government of Kenya have embraced AI. And recently, we've had trainings in our institutions organized by the head of public service. And I think this is a good thing for the leadership of the industry. Number two, I'll just repeat what my colleague has said in terms of how do we deal with people who are AI averse. And we are saying that one, we do training, we do sensitization for the staff, and also we involve the interns from the university so that we want a culture whereby the generations that are following us really appreciate AI and be able to use it in future. Because as you are aware, there's a certain generation that is technology averse. They really fear technology, and sometimes it's difficult to change people. So what we are saying is that for the young people who are in the organizations, we are going to expose them so that that idea of AI usage and utilization is carried over to the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I consider myself very lucky because I sit in an environment where we have one of the brightest brains in technology in this country. And some of the products they have done are quite amazing. 100% local brain, nothing outsourced. And what I've seen is when these people develop the solutions, when these young people develop the solutions, when they go to the older people who are a bit technology averse, they develop solutions that are very easy to use for them. Solutions that are easy to be consumed. For example, last week we had a conversation with people who are 60 years and above, and we are just training them on some elements of technology, and especially on how they can be able to predict how they are, with, for example, their M-Pesa statement, how they are just able to predict how their expenses look like. And these are 60 people and above, and they could upload their M-Pesa statement, and some of them could actually predict how bad they are doing financially and how good they are doing financially just by looking at their phone. And this was a simple tool, just uploading the statement and that. So the whole thing here is making sure that the technology that we developed are easy to use, number one. And number two, if we can use the local talents, they understand the local people. They understand what needs to be done. They understand how people want to use technology. And that has been the success of the technologies that we have used, including our major technology, M-Pesa, that has locked the world. It is a local solution developed by 100% local people. And how easy it is to be implemented and to be communicated to the people, that is how we can hack this.
Well, thank you. Well, I think basically getting the young generation, getting the Gen Zs to use AI, to use technology in general, it's not a problem because they are born with it. They're grown up with it. Not to mention the Gen Alpha. I mean, I have 2 kids who are, and I try to get them off their iPads as much as possible. But of course, this is a very key question because now when you talk about the over 60s, when you talk about the boomer generation, these are people who have worked an entire life. They have a wealth of knowledge. Now imagine what a powerful tool AI is in their hands. They are the ones who have the knowledge. I mean, my generation, we have to be humble in front of the people who have worked for decades longer than us. And I believe AI is nowhere as powerful as in the hands of the people who have that experience. And this is one of the challenges I believe that we face in professional life, that we as leaders face. How do we bring the knowledge of how do we bring that wealth of knowledge into productive use where it's, where it can be used the most? AI is nowhere as powerful as in the hands of the people who have the most experience.
That is so true, to be quite frank. So we're on the last round now. So we first talked about data. Then we moved in terms of how data is used today with AI. And then we moved into the application of AI and challenges to AI. Now I want to ask an interesting question. AI is not as accurate as most persons would want to believe. I have been in situations where I've asked the AI to provide me with data that was incorrect. It raises a question of trust. It raises a question of accuracy, which will affect efficiency, productivity, and the ability to generate income. How much mitigation strategies are implemented in the application of AI when you use it for business? And do you have someone or something that verifies the quality of the data, the trustworthiness of the data? And do you engage the big, large language module API companies to support you in your own business? And we'll start here.
In terms of accuracy of what AI gives, I strongly believe that the commands that you give to the AI is what will give you a certain level of accuracy. In the computer world, of course, we all know that garbage in, garbage out. So the kind of commands that you will give is what exactly determines how the results will be. But also to mitigate that, there's an aspect of human intervention where we really need to go through the data, understand as a human being in terms of the results and all that, so that we're able to now judge that the accuracy of the data is what you really need. So where we are sitting is that, of course, AI enables us to work more efficiently, more accurately, but what is important is what do we get from there? Is the results that you get desirable to what we need?
Thank you, Prof. I think in terms of the accuracy of AI, one intervention we have to use is about triangulation, because we have various data sources. So for us, we don't depend on analysis from AI, but we are able to triangulate from other sources and see if the metadata is speaking the language of AI. Then number two, I think we are also supposed to use the right type of AI for the right purpose, because we have AI for engineering, we have AI for medicine, we have AI for presentations and all that. So if you give a prompt to an AI that is not meant for what you're looking for, definitely you're not going to get the right answer. So for us, mostly it is generative AI, and I think for us, most likely about 90% that we have to triangulate and get the correct information that we're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you for that question on the correctness of AI and how it can be, the mitigation that can be done on that aspect. And then it goes back to the source of this data. For example, in the global south, we don't have so much data available that can be consumed by AI. For example, you'll find a very beautiful research sitting somewhere in a PDF format or in a file somewhere. It can't be consumed. Yes, it's single source of truth. It is real. It's factual, but it can't be consumed by AI. So mine is to look at the structure of how we put our data to be consumed by AI, because we don't have that truth available, consumable by an AI technology. For example, our site that we use, hotel sites, ministry sites, do they have AI capability that it can fetch data from that and feed to a global system that can be able to accurately see? This is the most updated tourism data from Kenya. Do we have that? If it's not there, can we build it so that in the next few years, when people search for this truth, they know this link from the Ministry of Tourism is actually the single source of truth. And when it is showing the links of references where this data has come from, then it can query that and find this is the most updated, this is the most real. I'll give you an example as I finish. If you search, for example, go to any AI platform today and try to tell it to give you a source of even images of Kenya. In most cases, you'll not find the true real images or the most recent images of Kenya. Why? Because we don't have that information. So can we build these solutions locally and create in a way that they are AI enabled and they can fetch this data? And we have the young people in this country who can be able to do that perfectly.
Well, thank you. Well, I believe when it comes to the accuracy of AI systems, I think anyone who uses AI, well, you started by asking who uses AI more than once a week. I was wondering if the question was more than once an hour. But for anyone who uses AI, of course, we know that accuracy, we all recognize something that's like a text that's AI generated by a short prompt. So there's a difference between using just giving ChatGPT a prompt or DeepSeek a prompt and just copying and pasting the output of it. But of course, it's also, well, again, like somebody mentioned, the issue of are you even using the right AI? Are you using ChatGPT or Grok? Are you using Claude? Are you using Gamma? It's well, obviously you're also looking at the right system for the right purpose, and if you're using the right system for the right purpose, the right way, chances of getting a quality output is already something quite different. And now, this is back to actually what Francis was saying. I think, well, how many homegrown systems do we have, AI systems of any kind, do we have in Kenya or on the African continent of its own? And I think to get answers, as in to get the answers, to get the output that actually fits, that it actually gives the right answers for the tourism industry, or even for any other industry in Kenya, in any African countries, we actually need to start building homegrown AI companies that actually gives us the answers that we need here in Africa and for our specific industries. Where is the Kenyan tourism AI system? I want to see that tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. We have time for 2 questions.
All right. The questions are already here because it's being sent directly. It's only now one because time is up on your end. Right. But allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to just very quickly appreciate some of the people, especially Dr. Lucy, from Kenyatta University who's already answering some of the questions for you on the platform. Since they're digital, we get answers for the go. But just the one that was overriding and was voted a bit was this. How, I think in terms of accuracy has been answered a lot. Someone, a Kisii University student, a university student here was asking, how can tourism destinations leverage AI-powered predictive models to mitigate the impact of future crises, ensuring resilience? 30 seconds. Who's going to answer that? There you go. And then we can close it at that.
Thank you very much for the question. I think for predictive modeling,
Yes.
we use tools that are available. One of them is called ARIMA, the other one is called SARIMA.
Okay.
You can also use a simple Monte Carlo simulation
Yeah.
that you can be able to see maybe over 1,000 simulations and see the worst case scenario, the best case scenario, and then you're able to make a decision out of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please, Professor.
Thank you very much,
close it.
colleagues. I think we fulfilled our mission. We talked about data. We talked about how data is used in AI. We talked about the accuracy of the data as a caveat and the application. So I think today we've achieved our goal. I don't know what's happening with my voice. It seems to have gone. But thank you very much, colleagues. One thing though, as I leave, please, when you use your AIs, be courteous. Please and thank you. We don't know what will happen in the next 5 years. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind, you could kindly come closer to each other for a quick photo. Photographer, if you're ready, just take it up very fast, and then we can close. Maybe just at the back there. Please move at the back there. They can take that photo very fast. Then we're able to close on that. So I'm going to do a count. In the meantime, if you don't mind, Mulema Muongwa, you could be getting ready up on stage for our quick next one. Just look at the photographers in 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for that. Let's appreciate them one more time with a beautiful round of applause. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me, we are moving quite in a very fast session. And we check your programs, we had our breakouts. So please put your hands together for Mulema Muongwa as he comes, the Africa Coordinator, meeting professionals and international. Mulema, if you're here, please come to the stage. I'd appreciate to see you coming up right here. Excellent, thank you so much. Oh, there you go. And Mulema will be joined by Fiona Fennell, the Public Relations and Communications Manager at Jamaica Tourist Board. Please come up to the stage. Dr. David Chiawo, the Dean School of Tourism, Hospitality at Strathmore and Strategic Board Future Leaders Challenge East Africa. Please come up to the stage as well very fast. Judy Kefel Gona, Founder and Executive Director, Sustainable Travel and Tourism Agenda. Please come to the stage. Followed by Winnie Maru, National Secretary, Kenya Association of Women in Tourism. Followed by Lynette Kamonde, CEO of Ecotourism Kenya. Hosh Jama Farah, Founder and Executive Director, Beachseed Kenya for Culture and Nature. Arnold Gekonge, Executive Director, SDG Youth Kenya, and Ian Omondi, Managing Director, Made in Kenya Entertainment. Please make it to the stage very fast so that we can be able to move very fast. Asante sana.
Nzuri sana, wageni mwakaribishwa, Kenya yetu hakuna matata.
Excellent. All right. The moderator has asked me that you have been seated for long. Please stand, stretch in your own way. Please stand for a moment. That's a request by the moderator. I know. Excellent. It's important. We have a doctor in the house and he says your blood needs to go where it's supposed to go. Kick a bit. There you go. Let it go. Let it go. Excellent. Lovely. Thank you so much. Moderator, are you happy now? Now you can take your seats. Now you can take your seats very fast. Thank you so much. Thank you, DJ. Asante sana. Asante sana. Moderator, over to you.
Asante sana. Good morning. I would like to request the permission of the ministers present to ride on the protocol that has been established and also to recognize the presence of all senior government officials that are here representing the different governments. Based on the last panel, I think we have been redeemed. We do have females on this panel. The gender balance has been achieved. So we may give the organizers a round of applause for considering the gender balance in this one. My name is Mlemwa Mongwa. I am the Meetings Professionals International Coordinator for the Africa region. And personally, I am very excited to be part of this panel, primarily because I am ticking all the boxes in this panel. I am a woman, been a youth, and I have a passion for indigenous knowledge management, because that is what makes Africa tick. Africa is a continent of over 50 countries, the 50 countries representing 50 unique experiences. That cannot be achieved if we are portrayed as one destination. Our uniqueness is drawn from every destination based on what is uniquely ours. As indigenous, as part of what we are going to be talking about today, we're touching on two elements that are extremely important. The agenda on women, one that seems to be fatiguing the new generation because they do not appreciate the role of women in development. When we talk about women in development, we're talking about an agenda that is just slightly over 100 years old. What we are seeing, what we are feeling as fatigue is really the consequences of a revolution that started. What we need to do is to sustain that power, but now we are raising a generation of children that may never be aware of where we're coming from, and that is why it is important to have a topic that is building on that. Further to this, Africa is a very youthful population. We are faced with the highest unemployment, and so with the panel here, we're going to be touching on 2 points. Following the 2020 crisis, we are now sitting with a panel that I will, because of the time that we've been given, I will request that each of you does a very quick introduction and response to the question. I will pick the questions at random, so please make sure that you are awake. Do we have any youths in the room? What is the number for the age for youth in Kenya? 18 to 35. Okay, that pretty much says the African story. I am still a youth inside. I passed the 35 age threshold, but thank you to the young people that are in the room. We will start with Madam Judy Kepner to discuss, in the context of resilience for all, how can we move beyond the basic inclusivity and ensure that youth and women-led innovations in tourism are structurally integrated into national recovery policies rather than remaining peripheral pilot projects. Is there somebody that is willing to pick the question? Can I repeat it? Okay. Okay, Madam Winnie? Okay. How are women in Kenya tourism collaborating to survive environmental shifts? And what mentorship programs are most effective for building resilient female leadership?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Winnie Maru, and I'm the National Secretary for the Kenya Association of Women in Tourism. This is an association that brings together women who are working in the tourism and hospitality sector. And to get to your question, the climate change and environmental shifts definitely affect women a lot who are working in this sector. And one of the ways in which women then can get over this and collaborate is through organizations like ours, where we bring together women to connect, to network, to learn from one another. Because of course you can walk far when you're alone, but you can walk further with others. So I'd like to encourage any woman who's within that sector to then consider joining the Kenya Association of Women in Tourism. Secondly, working together on issues of conservation. The Kenya Association of Women in Tourism has chapters across the country. And I'd give an example of the chapters that we have at the coast in places like Kilifi. We partner with women groups to plant mangrove trees, which of course protect marine biodiversity, protect the shoreline, and we've been involved in a lot of those activities with our county chapters that are based at the coast. Thirdly, we have a very active mentorship program within the association. Within this mentorship program, we are building skills with the next generation. We currently have trainings going on, building capacity within the hospitality sector, within the tour sector, and also taking into account new technologies like AI and digital marketing. And we do take part in many days that are commemorating, like we do have an activity that is coming up on International Women's Day. So through that, then we collaborate and we mentor the next generation. Lastly, it is through advocacy. We partner with government, you know, so that we can ensure that there are gender-sensitive policies that are happening. Because within this sector, which is largely has most women, majority of the staff that are working within this sector are women. We then work with government and other policy institutions to ensure that we have policy that then helps the woman and that the women benefit from those policies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hosh Jama, how does your work in preserving ancestral knowledge provide a practical safety net for indigenous youth and women when modern tourism systems face a crisis?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Hosh, the Executive Secretariat of Beid Center for Culture and Nature in Somalia. I think it's the only one who is in here, which come from from Somalia. I'm very delighted to be here. For your question, the preservation and safety net for the indigenous groups and Somali and the youth, it depends on the way beyond we go. For example, in the communities, in the indigenous communities, we are the first line affected by the shocks, the tourism shocks, the effects of conflicts, the climate impacts. So the most of the things, those people lose everything they have, everything they own, including the income, including the branding, including from the source of generation of income, everything they have. So this kind of shocks affected the people life. It affected it generates the new threats. It affects directly, especially the youth and women. In Somalia, we have one of them. We are one of the most affected people by the disinformation and the what is so called fake news. Every person here sitting here imagines that if I say I'm come from Somalia, they ask you, are you from Somalia? Are they safe? So that's especially affected us by the what we call misinformation and disinformation as a regards of the other presentation. So there are many solutions for those impacts, including skills development for the women and to preserve their oral cultures, oral traditions, weaving activities, clothing, everything their own. They're like cultural tradition, storytelling. So that's the one thing. The second thing is economic activities diversification. So when we do the economic diversification to the communities, they will survive a lot. They can survive in long term. So we need to have a community with a long vision, with a different kinds of economic diversification. So also, we need to have indigenous knowledge empowerment. If we don't have indigenous knowledge empowerment, we could not survive our people. So I want to ask one thing. I want to question one thing from the panel, from the people of Kenya, from the people of the world. Somalia is safe. Somalia is safe. And we are presenting, we have the longest beaches in Africa. We have the largest camel population around the world. We have good people. We are warm welcoming. Come and join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so, so much. And from Somalia, we will go straight to Jamaica. And a round of applause for Jamaica. I think they do have a gender-balanced delegation.
Working on it, yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Fiona. Just because you're the one that has traveled the furthest on this panel will allow you to just give a brief context of the conversations around women and youth in Jamaica.
Okay, good morning. We're still at morning?
Yes.
Right, so I'm in public relations and communications at the Jamaica Tourist Board, and in doing this research, there are some sticking points that I think we need to look at if we want to talk about resilience for all. And we believe that resilience for all must start with inclusivity. Just a few numbers or percentages here. 54% of women are in tourism. 54% of us work in tourism. But only 10% of women in tourism are in CEO positions. And we earn 14.7% less than our male counterparts. How are we to make these changes and to empower women? We have to have women in positions of decision making. We need our young girls and women to see other women who are making these decisions. They're in boardrooms. They are helping to make the change in resilience, and that is where we must start. I can see myself as a permanent secretary. I can see myself as a director of tourism. I can see myself as a minister of tourism as a woman, and we must start there, and it starts with training, engaging our youth, and letting our women and youth know that these positions are possible if they put the work in and if they're given that level of equity and access.
Thank you. Before I let you go, what specific resilience challenges do women-owned business face in the Caribbean? Now, when you were responding, those figures did sound alarming, but that is the reality that we live with. So is there any areas that you can pinpoint that have led us to this point? Is there change? Are we seeing the numbers going up or down?
Well, I mean, for Jamaica in particular, we've seen some shifts, including more women in these positions. In our parliamentary setting, women are 29%, which is excellent when you look at it globally. So we are making those shifts. As it relates to women-owned businesses, the answer is kind of simple: lack of equity and access. They're not able to access the credit and financing and even the mentorship and ecosystems around these small businesses. We need to be able to be at the table to demand and to get more.
Thank you very much. We need to be in the room. We need to get other women in the room. That is the message. From Jamaica, we're going straight into the classroom. We are living in very interesting times in that we're seeing the highest number of tertiary level graduates, at the same time seeing the highest unemployment numbers. Mr. David Chiao is the Dean at the School of Tourism and Hospitality at Strathmore University. How can we better prepare the next generation of tourism professionals to engage in the rapid pace of digital environmental transformation, as well as how can the universities and industry... Okay. Okay, so I will just proceed with that question, and then anybody in the audience from academia can pick that up. How can universities and industry experts better collaborate to ensure that tourism research directly solves the real-world challenges? If you have an answer, we will come back to you, or you can go straight to the online platform. Okay. Mr. Ian Omondi? Okay. Thank you. You are coming from Made in Kenya Entertainment. How can the creative and entertainment industries serve as a catalyst for youth-led tourism resilience, especially in marketing Made in Kenya as a brand that remains attractive during global disruptions? Also, do you carry insurance for the people that were jumping yesterday?
Okay, thank you very much. By the show of hands, how many youths do we have here? Can you just raise your hands?
In
Good.
spirit?
So you can clap for yourself for showing up, because one thing I know in this country, youths usually are more creative. They always show up, and they're more in the creative industry. So to answer your question, to pitch this, I'll put this in two ways. There is first, knowledge seeking and training, and two, supporting them with guidance. And this can be broken in three. So to ensure the tourism research solves real-world challenges, we must bridge the gap between lecture rooms and the large-scale events. So Made in Kenya Entertainment, we do host large-scale events, and we want to create opportunities for creators, for promoters, for dancers, any youth who has a talent out there to be seen and to use it in the right direction. So we can do the industry university labs. Of course, we have several universities in Kenya, and the best way possible is reaching out to them using live event labs. Yeah, this is where we equip them with the necessary training, both on digital platforms, marketing, how do they market their talents. And we can do this. If we do this match perfectly, we might be able to raise experts and creative community society with the necessary skill to be able to market Kenya at large, yeah, especially when we host large-scale events at the Talanta Stadium that is about to be launched, and we are really, really waiting. Secondly, digital job platforms. You can imagine if you go to your TikTok today, if you go to Instagram, if you go to, which other platform do we have? Yes, we have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Do you usually see the number of youths doing content creation? It's usually daily, right? So you can imagine if this is Kenya and we have over 1 million of youths doing content creation business, does that mean if 1 million youths were given a grant today, yeah, by the Ministry of Tourism to go and market Kenya at large, be it at the park, at the KWS, be it at with KTB, what will you think the impression will be like? So to bring that, I'm going to take you to the influencer powerhouse. You saw the iShow Speed as a proof of concept. iShow Speed is just a youth like us. He came here to create his content, but when he was creating the content, he marketed Kenya at large, and Kenyan Youth Creative Society turned up at large. Millions of youths lining up right from KICC to where he finished his journey. So this has something to tell you, yeah? iShow Speed had 40 million views. So remember, as he was streaming, 40 million people out there were seeing Kenyan, yeah, on a different scale. We even had some tourists in Europe asking, I never knew Kenya had roads. I mean, come on, were we riding donkeys? So this is a proof of concept that shows that we really need to work on the digital and creative market. Secondly, I'm going to talk about the indigenous culture and risk mitigation as we support our creative society. So much has been said, but...
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, so on the foreign policy and protection, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We need to implement the Tourism and Citizen Protection Code. This goes straight to women's society especially, like the Russian man case. We really need to restrict so that whenever any tourist comes to the Kenyan lands, they both have their protection, and as a citizen, you have your rightful protection. So I think with those challenges, we'll be willing to address as Made in Kenya Entertainment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And picking up from the conversation on iShow Speed, I realized that I did not know anything until that young man came to Africa, because my 8-year-old knew who he was. I didn't know who he was until I saw him. So it shows that even if they don't have buying power, young people still do have a voice, and they have the platforms to reach the numbers we desire. So I would like to invite Mr. Arnold Gekonje from the SDG Youth Kenya to just share with us what formal structures are needed to ensure that young leaders have a genuine voice in the national tourism policies.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Arnold Gekonge, and I'm founder and executive director of Champions for SDGs Youth Organization, and I'm based here. As you know, young people in Kenya, in their numbers, have demonstrated the innovative and capacity to use technology to solve various challenges that the world faces. And some of those have been highlighted by those who've spoken before me. And this presents a big opportunity for us to shape resilient tourism. As you may know as well, resilient tourism touches on various sustainable development goals, from quality education to partnerships for the goals, from life on water to life below land, from industry, innovation and infrastructure to affordable and clean energy. Those particular goals and the targets and the great work that young people are innovating contribute to great progress, although we feel that we might be having a very short time left to achieve the goals. Tapping into the potential of young people could help us a great deal make progress. To answer the question, I recommend that there be set youth advisory body within the programs or within the ministry in the different countries. And this youth advisory body, if it does not exist, will help shape the programs and ensure that they are inclusive in terms of getting the youth, the women, and also indigenous peoples. Secondly, ensure that there is a regular feedback mechanism to get feedback from young people from across the country and the region on how we are doing, what progress we are making, and whether it's making any impact, real impact in the community. And then lastly, I recommend that we have strategic information dissemination approaches. Some of those include social media, and those are able to reach people from different parts of the country using technology and in real time. I'd like to highlight two things I've observed, maybe that are working well.
In 30 seconds?
Yes, two things that are working well. I saw that during a recent TV interview, listening to the CEO of the Kenya Tourism Board, it's a demonstration that young people can lead, and it's time to let the youth lead. And I also saw that there is a center, the Global Tourism Center, that is using academia and dissemination of knowledge and education to ensure that we achieve resilient tourism. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will conclude the panel with a woman, Madam Lynette Kamonde, who is coming in from Ecotourism Kenya. During the pandemic, we were all told to stay at home, but the animals were not. Our natural sites were open, and we saw how there was a rejuvenation. We saw how the numbers and the animals were flourishing without our involvement. So that came out as a call to us as individuals and people that benefit from our natural heritage, to remember to preserve and also to identify these properties and assets as a way of sustaining our livelihoods for generations now and to come. Madam Kamonde from the Ecotourism Kenya, how is Ecotourism Kenya helping its members build practical long-term resilience against climate and economic shocks?
Thank you so much for that question. My name is Lynette Kamonde, the CEO of Ecotourism Kenya. So as an organization, we are a membership organization, let me say so, and our program are redesigned to offer solutions to the tourism sector. And one of the program areas maybe that we can focus on today is on the standard and best practices program. So for this standard and best practices program houses the eco certification. We also have climate resilience and a sustainability program. So under this, we also offer eco-certification program called eco-rating certification. So for eco-rating certification, we touch on 4 major criteria just to support the resilience as well as sustainability of our destination and together with the accommodation facility. So one of the things that it touches on the environmental conservation, that is for accommodation facility, how best are they doing to support these environmental conservation. And one of the things is on waste management. We can talk about energy management. We can talk about also water management. And then number 2, also we are very key on how this facility are supporting community engagement as well as development. And we can see some of the accommodation facility that went even as far as during drought seasons. They've been able to bring in a community where they can be able to cut grass and put and give to their kettles, as well as have a model or a framework where they allow the community to have their cows graze on a specific areas just to be able to be able now to assist them in terms of crisis and all that. And also in matters community, we've seen employment within community, which is also very key that our ecotourism certification is also addressing. And we talk about also the employment and also in terms of within the business practice also is one of another target. We are also talking about how well can be able to, the facility can be able to embrace gender equality. So through that, let me just wind up. To support the sector, we've developed green destination standards for the destinations, the standard that can be able to be adapted just to support sustainability as well as resilience. And recently, we've also launched a responsible travelers guide as something that can be able to support the travelers. It's just a very simple but very practical guide to support the sector together with now the tourists to embrace these responsible practices. And then lastly, we've also developed a standard for East Africa, both for tour operators as well as accommodation facility. And this is through the UNEP funding. And we also submitted it to East Africa to see where it can be able to be adapted so that you can be able to champion resilience and sustainability within the East African region. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Women can really never catch a break. Look at how closely he is approaching.
Madam Moderator, excuse. I just have a small request, please. Can I play one clip of what one of our creative did for the tourism sector? Just a 1-minute clip.
Maybe as we leave the stage, then it can be.
Thank you very much.
Cued? Is it cued?
Yes, it's already on cue.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much to the panel for the work that we put in. Believe it or not, we only did 1 minute extra. So as we conclude, advancing women, youth, and indigenous leadership is critical for building a resilient, sustainable, and inclusive global tourism sector. By fostering entrepreneurship, providing targeted training, and ensuring representation in decision-making, the industry can better adopt the shocks, promote economic empowerment, and drive sustainable community-led growth. With that, I would like to thank my panel. I'd like to thank the audience, and apologies for the rush. As you're aware, we have had a change in program, but we have made it a point that we did get everybody on the panel to speak. So thank you so much. And we are at 2 minutes over, which is a fantastic score because everybody's going
Fantastic score. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate the panelists. Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, you could stand very quickly for a quick photo. Photographers, are you set? just right here close to each other. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you for observing time. In the meantime, moderator for the next panel session, you could be getting ready. And then that video, is it ready? Is it ready? Just checking if it's ready. We'll cue it immediately after this photo. Thank you so much. The photo has been taken. Thank you so much, moderator, as well, for keeping time. Mulema Moogwa. Thank you so much. Can we have that video now? Now, because I only have that 1 minute.
Kenya is losing millions of dollars every single year.
Morocco welcomes over 20 million tourists in a year.
Kenya is only welcoming 2 million tourists in 1 single year.
Yet, we have everything. What the world saw during Speed's visit wasn't luck, it was proof. When we change the story, the world responds.
No poverty tourism, no one angle narrative, just beauty, nature, vibes, and anything to do with our beautiful Kenya.
Because Kenya doesn't need to be explained, it needs to be shown.
So we are saying this openly. Give us the flag, let us carry Kenya online.
If you believe East Africa deserves more eyes, more respect, more visitors, stand with us.
Well done, well done. I saw that video on TikTok. It was trending. Well done. I saw it, I saw it. If you're not on TikTok, ask the person sitting next to you, what's that? Ladies and gentlemen, the final panel, Investing in Innovation and for Wildlife and Nature-Based Tourism Resilience. The moderator, Francis Gio, the CEO, founder, willing host. Please come up to the stage very fast. Allow me to call the other panelists very fast as well, because we are just expecting any moment from now, our chief guest, the Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary. May I have Honorable Sylvia Museya, the PS, State Department for Wildlife, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife Kenya. If she's around, she could join us immediately on that. Then we'll also have Professor Erastus Kanga, the Director General, Kenya Wildlife Service. Please make it to the stage. We will also have Dr. Patrick Omondi, the CEO, Wildlife Research Training Institute, followed by Christina Edward, Director of International Affairs, Ministry of Tourism, Jamaica. Then we'll also have Barry Clemens, Group Chief Executive Officer, Hospitality EQ, Hava Bog, founder Hotel Online, and finally Imran Shah, founder Destination Plus Tourism and Events. Kindly take your seats so we can proceed on immediately with this particular session. Excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, just allow me to allow the panelists just in case our chief guest comes in, you might get just a 1 minute interruption, and then you'll proceed on, just to acknowledge his presence. Thank you so much. Moderator, over to you.
Thank you so much. This being the last panel discussion, it will be quite exciting because wildlife is a great tourism product for our country, Kenya. And I'm glad to have my great panelists here, and we're going to have a very great presentation. So I'll go straight to the questions, and as you do the questions, because already we've been introduced, so you can go just directly to the questions. And my first question goes to Professor Erastus Kanga. 10 years ago, KWS launched the Endowment Fund, and yesterday we had an amazing conversation about Resilience Fund, which was quite a great innovation. My question is, tell us more about the Endowment Fund, if it's still there, and what transformation it has done to the Kenya Wildlife Service.
Thank you, moderator, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Professor Erastus Kanga. I'm the Director General, Kenya Wildlife Service, the government agency that supports 70% of the tourism product in this country. Our presence is across the entire country, but we are active in about 24% of the country, and that is the landmass of this country that is purely dedicated for wildlife conservation and biodiversity. Straight to the question from the moderator, endowment fund. Endowment fund or conservation trust funds, from frameworks or initiatives that would help us to be able to absorb financial shocks when terrorism strike, when COVID and other diseases strike, or when there are shutdowns. And the Kenya Wildlife Service initiated an endowment fund in the year 2009. And unfortunately, the endowment fund has not grown so much, in the sense that in terms of sustainability, the service has been struggling to raise enough revenue to manage and sustain conservation work across the country. The endowment fund has grown to a figure of 5.6 billion. That was 2 years ago. And the interest that was there of 1.4 billion is what we utilized to train the additional rangers and cadets that have come in to inject new blood in the form of the youth that we are employing in the wildlife sector. The good news about the endowment fund is that over the last 3 years, we have grown the revenue of the Kenya Wildlife Service in a transformative way that nobody expected us to turn around things. In the year 2022, the revenue of the service was 4 billion Kenya shillings. When we took over in the new government, 2023, we were able to push that revenue to 5.3 billion. The year 2024, we shot that revenue again to 7.6 billion. Last year, we shot the revenue again to 7.98 billion. That is 20 million short of 8 billion. As we stand today, being half of the year, the 6th month of this financial year, we've been able to overshoot even what we had the last financial year. That tells you the surplus money that we'll be making from our gate collections, we'll be feeding it into the endowment fund. And the purpose of the endowment fund is to ensure that we are able to absorb the financial shocks, we are able to do development work, we are able to pay salaries, and we are able to support operations that are much needed in the area of wildlife conservation. So, moderator, we are safe, we are still on the right path. The extras that we'll be getting from the improved revenue, that is courtesy of the new technology of the e-citizen, having additional product, additional more marketing. So the future is extremely bright for wildlife conservation in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am a firm believer of endowment fund, and especially now that you saw this so early, you saw the resilience fund so early. So I think if you can rename that to resilience fund and rally everybody in this room to support endowment fund, that's a resilience fund for wildlife service, that will be a really good thing. My question goes to Dr. Patrick Omondi. Research is key, and you are at the helm of a very serious organization, WRTI. And my question is, research is essential for anticipating future wildlife challenges. How is scientific data currently being used to predict and manage shift in wildlife patterns nationwide?
Thank you, moderator. My name is Patrick Omondi, the director and CEO of the Wildlife Research and Training Institute. We are the research wing of the wildlife sector and created to provide data and information to inform how we manage our wildlife in community conservancies, county reserves, and national parks. So you can only manage better what you know. And our rallying starting point was to establish the very important product in the tourism industry, which is wildlife. Where is our wildlife? To start the baseline. Not very cheap, very, very expensive. But for now, the two series. In 2021, we conducted a countrywide national wildlife census. We set the baseline. There was ecological shock in 2022, and we had a heavy drought that killed some wildlife. Then last year, we launched, and His Excellency the President launched the current status of our wildlife in the country. Big investment, but the fact is you can only manage what you know better. Good investment. So what are we doing so that data is available to help us harness issues of resilience? As a country, our conservation philosophy is not to have zoos, but have our protected areas open. Our national parks, country reserves, and community conservancies are open systems. They are not zoos. And if they are open, it means you need to know where these wildlife are in real time. So we have to harness technology, use of satellite tracking to know where they pass when they move from point A to point B. And from the wildlife sensors, we now need to know how many of elephants do we have, how many lions, how many zebras, and which one is facing critical threat. So for a long time, we've had scattered data with individuals, with PhD holders. Now the Wildlife Research Institute have been mandated by government to create a national wildlife database. That before you construct your highways, we should be able to confirm to you whether that highway will pass through a wildlife corridor. So we are establishing, and the government has invested in this, to bring all the data from theses in PhD institutions and government into one data portal, just like we hear from the Tourism Research Institute for Wildlife. We are doing exactly that. And by the we already have a prototype. So if you type how many elephants, how much of Kenya is conserved, how many lions, you visit my website, you should be able to get that information in the click of a button. Why is that important? It is important because if there are ecological shock, and before you talk about resilience, then you'll know where you prioritize your resource. So it will be important to visit and establish the status. There are species in this country that are endemic to certain areas. There are only few, less than 100, like grown antelopes in Roma. There are less than 30. We have the Cebu antelopes in Simba Hills. There are less than 100 individuals only found in Simba Hills. And our rallying call from knowing what we have, and now government having this into one data portal, is to bring in the private investors in tourism. Because what you sell is that wildlife. Just to be keen and be interested, what should we do to grow the number of Cebu antelopes? Because we have a national recovery plan, we know what we want to do, but sometimes it's resources that you need to be interested in the product. So a call for public, government, and private partnership so that the wildlife resources can survive the ecological shocks. And that's why we are really a keen supporter of having resilience and a fund so that we have something to draw, even to know what wildlife resources we have.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate what you're doing at Wildlife Research Training Institute. And good to know that you have data now available. And we just had a discussion here on data and AI, and I'm happy that that data is available. Let me go to Christina. You've given us amazing product or platform from Jamaica, and that is the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center. And my question to you is, Jamaica is recognized globally for building tourism resilience. How is Jamaica leveraging its natural heritage to strengthen nature-based resilience models?
Okay, thank you, moderator. As he said, I'm Christina Edwards, Director for International Relations and Tourism Trade at the Ministry of Tourism, Jamaica. So your question, I'm going to start off by saying our natural resources are not just an asset. It's not just a product, but it is our infrastructure. So the strategy is to protect it, right? So through protecting our natural resources, in Jamaica, we have one of our agencies under the Ministry of Tourism is the Tourism Product Development Agency, and they have the responsibility to protect and conserve our natural resources as well as our other tourism enterprises. So they have the responsibility to go out, find out and do feasibility studies. They help to develop the guidelines that are eco-friendly, sustainability challenges. They train tour guides. So we're trying to diversify beyond sand and sea and now focus on our community-based tourism, linking our communities to hotels to improve our value chain. So that's a lot of what we are doing. We have moved outside of sea to go internal in the island. So more nature trails, heritage sites, to develop them and protect them. So I'm keeping it short and spicy because of time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christina, for that beautiful remarks. Barry Clemens, Dr. Modi mentioned about public-private partnerships and building, especially if you have to construct a hotel, you need to consider whether this is a wildlife corridor or what are species that are endemic to that place so that you don't affect them. And my question to you, being in the space that you are in, is sustainability in lodge design is becoming critical. My question is, how can turnkey eco-design solutions help nature-based lodges remain resilient to environmental and operational challenges?
Thanks, Francis, for that question, and it's a valid question. As I already mentioned yesterday, tourism resilience doesn't start in the future when there's a crisis. It starts now with what we're investing in. And when we're looking at hospitality product and specifically eco-lodges in this environment or in this discussion, it all starts at the planning stages. If you are doing things afterwards, retrospectively, it's very costly and it becomes an issue. So it starts with the design phase. What are we doing? How are we doing it? What are we putting it there? Obviously, we're looking at power solutions, using of solar power, hydropower where available. What type of materials do we use in the environment so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb? Other things we would look at, and something that's very often overlooked, is the operational efficiencies. We've got a lot of brilliant architects that turn out beautiful, beautiful lodges, but they've got no hospitality experience. They do not know and underestimate where does the staff work from, where's the storage going to be, what is the size from the kitchen, where are the pathways. Many of those things get overlooked, so very, very important for efficiencies, because good efficiency, well located, means easier and less disturbance on other things. Obviously, community involvement, very important. The community is part of the location, so this is also a big part. Then we've got, obviously, groundwater collection, rainwater collection. How can we reuse things that have already been used in a better way? And then, I guess this is a topic I can talk about for hours, but again, for the sake of time, and we want to get through some more questions, I think let's keep it there for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Clemens, for that. Imran, it's good to have you here, and you're very insightful. Allow me to ask you, you sit in a place where you do a lot of operations on the ground, and two operations are the link between the visitors and the wildlife experience. So how can tools like AI, real-time tracking, and digital platform enhance both visitor experience and asset protection?
Thank you. I wasn't prepared for that question, but let me see how I can answer. Basically, what I see is that digital platform nowadays, just in my previous panel, Zosh and a few other gentlemen showed that the awareness in digital digital platform is missing, where we need more presence of what Kenya or even rest of the African countries really shows. I was sitting and talking to Josh, is that if you type word Somalia in English, it gives you the negative impact. Where you write the actual word in the right way of spelling the name, then it gives you the positive impact and the perspective of Somalia. For that matter, I think the right information into AI is not being fed. The resources into AI is not being monitored well, where people across the world who do not know, and people have very few. It's like nowadays the reels gave you only 10-15 seconds of patience to scroll through a page, where you just see quickly, it's not a safe country, I will not travel. So I think the digital informations into AI and where the resources coming from into the AI has to be filtered and controlled. And after that, I think the positive feedback can come through. And in terms of the tourist, I also feel the governments of every nation has to invite the influencers of different destinations that we want to bring the market. Let's say if Africa is concentrating on certain destinations that they bring in the tourists, we need to bring people from those destinations, show them physically what Africa stands for and what we can. I personally feel there is a lot of information that is missing from the world, from this region, that need to be shown, spoken up. And it's not just a wildlife, but we have a luxury, we have the service, we have the safety. Everything has to be shown physically to the audience. You can't solely depend on the digital information, which is not always accurate in my opinion.
Thank you so much. Information sharing and taking people to where the action is happening, that's really good. Havel, thank you very much for being here. And you've created a great product, and which is touching every place in this country, different lodges and all that. But allow me to ask you a question on remote wildlife lodges. They face high operational cost and volatile demand. How can AI-driven dynamic pricing improve their financial resilience?
Well, you really picked a question that I love, so thank you for that, Francis. So this is actually one of the big gaps. And in the word gap, there is always opportunity for the tourism sector, the entire tourism sector. Yes, of course, the hotel sector, but the entire tourism sector on this continent. Because if you look at markets in North America, in Europe, most hoteliers, or a sizable share of the hoteliers, are using AI-driven dynamic pricing, whereas here this is still in its infancy. But this is actually one of the areas of resilience. This is at the core of tourism resilience, but one of the topics that has been, I would say, less covered during this conference, but it's equally important because this is about predicting patterns and even using existing well-known data that has been there for years, using that to adapt to the demand curves. We know that demand in tourism, in hospitality, is inherently cyclical. And for sure, I'm sure there must be some hoteliers, some hotel owners or GMs out here. Please raise your hands, those who are here. Okay. So we are in, we are in mid-February, and every hotelier in Kenya knows what mid-February is. This is not the moment where you have your pockets full of money, where you have a lot of cash in the register, or where your bank account is showing very high figures. Now, some of it is common, some of this is even common sense, as in some of this, the basics, you don't even need AI for it, that you drop your prices to a minimum when, like when demand is low, and when you see that occupancy at any given time in the future creeps above 80%, that's when you really start hiking the prices. That's when you're milking. And you can assume that your competitors are doing it as well. So, but during the low season, well, it's, you drop your prices down to your pain threshold. You go for the domestic market. You try to entice spontaneous travelers who want to jump on a plane and who might get enticed by lower prices. On a seasonal level, you don't even need AI to do this, but now for the finer variations within the shoulder season, there could still be dips in demand. There could be unpredicted spikes because of some major international conference, etc. And this is both where you can milk the peaks and also attract a few additional customers with attractive pricing during the lows. And now with AI-driven dynamic pricing, this is where you're able to capture those movements much more accurately than you can do just by using common sense about the seasonal variations. You come up with packages, irresistible offers. You predict the unexpected lows and highs, and you adjust the pricing automatically thereafter. The difference on margins on a monthly and annual basis for the hoteliers is very significant, and at the end of the day, this is about do you run a healthy business? Do you have healthy margins or not?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Dynamic pricing for different hotels. So don't stay with your lodge empty because you want to charge the highest. Do dynamic pricing so that you are able to capture every season of your property. That's very, very good. We are almost done. I see the red button is almost coming up. And we'll do just one round, very quick, 30 seconds of remarks. And I will start with Professor here. And kindly proceed.
Thank you, moderator. My parting shot is that in Kenya and other biodiversity-rich countries, you realize that wildlife and nature-based tourism are the foundation of tourism resilience. Particularly in Kenya, wildlife accounts for 70% of the visitors that come here, and that has been demonstrated by the Tourism Research Institute. The kind of shocks that wildlife experiences in terms of extreme weathers, climate change, poaching, human-wildlife conflict, and land use changes cause for sustainable financial basis to ensure that we can be able to enable wildlife to adapt and to respond. Last week, KWS on behalf of the country went a notch higher, and we came up with an innovation. And if you have a cell phone, just go into your cell phone if you have data, and you can go Kenya Wildlife Service donation account. If you access our eCitizen, you are going to be directed into a portal where you can donate to support wildlife in this country to ensure that wildlife becomes resilient, and therefore tourism will become resilient. You can donate 10 shillings, you can donate $1, you can donate 10,000 that I did last week. And as a country, we will be saying that once we have a strong wildlife base, tourism is going to be resilient, because that is a product that we have in this country. Thank you very much.
Yes, proceed.
My rallying call is for our planners, people who invest in infrastructure and the hotels. Is that now you have an institute in the wildlife sector, conservation center, that can give you data and verified information at the planning stage, that we can provide you information on movement patterns, and also if it is a superhighway, whether it will require an underpass or an overpass. So let's make use of data and science to take care of the tourism product, just like the DG says, that drives the tourism industry more than 70%. Again, a community conservancy model in this country has acted as kind of an activity under resilience. Because if we have an open conservation policy, then you need a big area. And those big areas, not just for wildlife, the communities that live with the wildlife must benefit. So the data also should be available to guide the planning and the creation for additional space for this wildlife, where we have open system. So communities, livestock, and people must live together, but they must benefit from wildlife as a land use. So there is data available. Those who own data share it. It is needless to monitor wildlife corridors until they disappear. It is needless to publish a paper on the sable antelope or gravy zebra for you as a scholar. Give it to us so that it can inform policy to make sure that species do not disappear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So make use of that data at WRTI. And also, if you have data that is sitting out there, some research paper, please let's forward it to the Wildlife Research Training Institute. Christina.
Thank you. So I'm going to say international cooperation, such as, the Global Tourism Resilience Center, is important because climate change and biodiversity, as well as the market the vulnerability of our market does not respect geography. So I think the Americas, the Caribbean, and Africa has the perfect opportunity for South-South cooperation, for innovation, as we share similar assets. Africa and the Caribbean, we have similar vulnerabilities, and we can share we have an extraordinary capital, and we can share experiences and our expertise. We can look at monitoring, GIS mapping to help each other. So I'm just going to leave it there.
Awesome, awesome. South-to-South cooperation. Amazing. That's what we need to adopt. Let's collaborate South-to-South. That is where our strength is. Barry?
So if we look at this room today, we see a lot of young people. So one thing I would say is we need to invest in the youth. So when we look at innovation, there is no lack of ideas. The young people of today are fully understanding what AI and technology is about. They come up with wonderful products. However, there's a lack of skills in terms of developing this into commercial businesses. As I mentioned yesterday, we've actually taken some initiative. We set up an NGO, we're still in the process of finalizing, where we will set up an innovation hub. We're in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism, we're in partnership with Strathmore University, where we help people, young people, that have an idea in ideation phase, take it through the process and enable them to deliver a product that is needed for tourism resilience. The ideas are there. We need to help them get it to life. We need to invest in it. We need to fund it through different ways. And investing doesn't just mean financial. It can be through mentorship, coaching, setting up programs that they can have access to learn how to commercialize their business. So my parting shot would be that we need to invest in the youth to make sure we become resilient.
Thank you, Barry, for that. Let's invest in the youth. I am a great champion of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think I'll be taking a little bit longer than 30 seconds. I just want to, while we're talking about AI and data management, I have managed kind of a lot
of the tourism industry. This is about keeping the tourism industry stable and predictable, because without community involvement, you don't have stable, predictable conservation. Too long, this has been seen as a donor and NGO-driven area, but it has to be seen as risk reduction for the tourism sector.
That's very much on time, and allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to ask us all to kindly stand. Appreciate you. Thank you, DJ. You may take your seats now so that we can allow our moderator to close the panel. And thank you because you had said your last word as he takes in his session. Very good. Close the panel.
Thank you so much. Let me close the panel by a question to Professor Kanga from my daughter, who wants to become a veterinary surgeon. And she asked me to ask you, can poaching aid? My daughter.
What can she do? Oh, she wants to know whether poaching can end.
Yes.
I think the question is, poaching has ended. Hope for the last 20 years or so, the government of Kenya, through Kenya Wildlife Service, has unspirited efforts, very expensive venture, highly dangerous. We've lost lives, and we've completely tamed poaching in this country. So your daughter is welcome to become a veterinary surgeon, admit her in Nairobi University, and when she finishes, she can get an opportunity to work with Kenya Wildlife Service. Thank you.
That's very good.
Thank you so much. And unless you donate to the endowment fund, then my daughter will not have something to take care of in the next 10 years. So please go to that portal, KWS donations, and donate something. Thank you very much. We close the panel.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind, you can come closer to each other for a quick photo, and then we'll be able to close that. Digi, you're giving him a gift. Okay, just come closer. Just come closer for the photo. Thank you so much. Excellent. Yes, that's beautiful. The ladies at the center. Gentlemen, you're gentlemen, really. Thank you so much. Photo, let's look at him. In 3, 2, 1, go. And then let's look at this late one. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go. Excellent. You got it? Asante sana. Thank you, panelists. You may take your seats. Asante. Let's appreciate them one more time with a beautiful round of applause. Asante sana. That was a beautiful moment. Tech team, this is your moment now to kindly come and fix the stage now as we get ready for our next sessions. So tech team, this is the moment. Sam and team, please do the necessary things. We could remove everything else, all the paraphernalia. This is important for us. How was it? How was the panel? Was it great? Excellent. I feel like at this moment I qualify to get a Jamaican passport. So far I've been very good to you, so remember me. Remember me as we got there. Thank you so much. And as we have in this chart, our Honorable Cabinet Secretary, Prime Cabinet Secretary is already taking his session at the booths, and we appreciate him for that. Once he gets here, we're all going to quickly stand just to welcome him once again back to the sitting. I think you've killed my microphone. Checking 1, 2. Okay, excuse me, please let me have my mic back, please, even as you're fixing the rest. Thank you. Principal Secretary, Honorable John Ololtua, to kindly come over right here and start us off with the closing session and plenary as we speak about the pathways to 2030 and regional commitments for resilience that we have had in this conference. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you. Our chief guest for the 4th Global Tourism Resilience Day Conference and Expo, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, His Excellency Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, our Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Rebecca Miano, Honorable Ministers of Tourism from Jamaica, Honorable, we have been here, Your Excellency. There has been a lot of discussions on tourism. As we welcome our Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Rebecca Miano. A round of applause as she comes. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Congo, Deputy Minister of Tourism from Angola, and all invited guests from international to local to regions. Thank you so much for having us here. And also our remarkable host, the Minister of Tourism of Kenya, Rebecca Miano. Thank you so much for a wonderful invitation to all of us. And also the Kenyan people who are here today. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, history tells us that human life is always a work that is start buildings from the creation, and we start still working on it, and it will continue for a generation to come. And that we are all one global citizens. We divided ourselves with boundaries. We divided ourselves with culture, religions. But the God who created us, we are one. And that you can see from all across the globes, our needs are always one. We might have different politics, we might have different cultures, but at the same time, we're bound together as one human being. I bring to you a great greetings from the people of South Sudan and the government of South Sudan, one of your neighbor who's very close to you. And in this forum, we were so excited when we get the invitation, because for us as Kenya, we share the same tourism aspiration. South Sudan is known for a great wildlife migrations, which I said yesterday is the biggest in the world. And it's also next door to you. In this sector, we can do a lot. But while we work on it, we need to keep one thing in mind, that everything that government do, everything that we do together, it must come together to make sure that it lifts up ordinary citizens in Kenya, in South Sudan, and across the globe. We're talking about resilience, but we cannot have resilience until one ordinary person in the village has a decent job where they can make financial decisions for their families. Average Kenyans who are watching this forum, from the rural areas to the urban areas, they must be asking themselves today, what is in it for me? What is in it for my family? What is in it for my community? What is in it for my neighbor? But all of those are thrown at us, especially at the government, that we are the institutions that has to provide for our citizens, whether in area of data that was talked about earlier, whether in the area of resilience, whether in area of preparation for natural disasters. We have to make sure that each family and each home have to make those decisions on their own, not necessarily the government. The government have to provide the lead to make sure that everybody has a decent life, right here in Kenya and across the globe. So, Honorable Minister, thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. Sorry if I take a lot of times. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Minister. We will have Honorable Kwete Labo from DRC. Bonjour, Minister.
Merci.
Thank you very much.
Excellence, Monsieur le Premier ministre.
His Excellency, the Prime Minister,
Monsieur le ministre,
all the honorable ministers,
Madame et Messieurs les fonctionnaires, les hauts fonctionnaires de l'État.
and all the other dignitaries and protocols observed.
Chers participants, tout protocole observé.
Dear participants, all protocols observed.
La RDC est un emblage unique habitant allant de Makrof au Congo central, à l'ouest au glacier de Ruwenzori.
And this external function gives us too much grace as the DRC Congo.
Des savanes et du centre du sud du pays, aux forêts humides, du nord offrant de visites possibilités d'une immense variété de pratiques d'activités écotouristes.
The savanna and the great extension of the southern part of the DRC gives great welcome to all the tourists and the visitors.
En termes de chiffres, on retrouve en RDC Congo 155 millions d'hectares, soit 50% des forêts tropicales humides d'Afrique.
The foreign exchange that is earned from tourism, ranging from the millions of shillings that has been mentioned, has much great potential economic value to the DRC.
Et c'est ce qui fait de cette destination touristique le deuxième poumon de la planète après l'Amazonie, avec 8% de carbone mondial stocké et 145 000 km de tourbières enfouies.
And therefore, the much impact that the carbon exchange, which ranges to 8%, gives a lot of impact on the tourism.
Un réseau hydrographique composé de lacs du fleuve Congo.
And in Africa, comprised of the physical features, the lakes and all those other physical features in Congo.
Avec lui-même 4700 km de longueur, soit soit le deuxième de l'Afrique.
And about 4,000 kilometers of area that surrounds the entire Africa in DRC.
Avec l'influence continue de jeter avec débit régulier de 41 000 mètres, soit deuxième du monde après l'Amazonie.
And with more than 4,000 of this particular exchange surrounds all the households.
Avec plus ou moins 450 tribus, la RDC présente autant de gastronomie, autant d'artisanaux traditionnels, autant de légendes, autant de danses, autant de traditions, autant d'œuvres d'art.
And equally, all this gives exchange with gastronomy, that is eating, cultural, and equally all the people.
Depuis l'avènement du président de la République Tshisekedi Tshilombo à la magistrature du pays,
and therefore, with all the permission of His Excellency Chilombo and the entire country,
le programme d'action du gouvernement dans son premier pilier et plus précisément dans l'axe stratégique 1, 2, 3 a retenu le secteur du tourisme l'un des leviers des investigations de l'économie nationale à travers la création d'emplois, la protection des pouvoirs d'achat des ménages, l'amélioration du cadre institutionnel réglementaire du secteur, la mise en œuvre d'une stratégie marketing de la destination du Congo, la création des zones de développement, expansion des touristes.
And all this with a lot of impact on the entire country with regards to employment creation, cultural exchanges, and every other value that goes down or trickles down to the local economy in the Congo.
Au regard de cette articulation du tourisme dans les programmes précités, il devient important pour le ministère du Tourisme ainsi que tous les secteurs cadres institutionnels, y compris le secteur privé, examinent des stratégies d'anticiper, d'absorber carrément, d'adapter, qui feront à ce que le secteur touristique soit à mesure de résister aux chocs intérieurs-extérieurs afin de perturber la réalisation des actions prévues dans le cadre du programme précité.
And therefore, with all this so much impacts, therefore, what has been discovered and discussed from this exchange in this Global Tourism Resilience Day, especially on tourism resilience, is so much important for the entire sector in Congo and the entire world at large.
Ainsi que la participation du ministère du Tourisme de mon pays dans cette conférence exposition rêve-t-elle toute ses pertinences car la résilience du tourisme désigne la capacité de destination d'un pays.
And therefore, as a Minister of Tourism, the element of resilience is so much important for the entire nation at large.
Des entreprises publiques et privées,
The public enterprises and organizations are so much privileged.
des communautés locales à anticiper, absorber, s'adapter, à se remettre des chocs tels que pandémie, de guerre, des catastrophes naturelles ou la crise économique, tout en maintenant les fonctions essentielles à améliorer la durabilité.
And therefore, the local people are also privileged to be able to know how to be able to adapt from these pandemic shocks, tourism shocks, wars, hunger, and so much other challenges.
Se faisant aux situations de la guerre d'agression qui se sont suivies à partir de notre pays, laquelle est considérée comme le fleuron de notre tourisme.
And therefore, the crisis that is being experienced from his country is also one of the major crises that is affecting the tourism sector.
Ceci avec comme conséquence le développement de mauvais narratifs sur notre destination touristique.
And therefore, it is so much important that this is being addressed so that we can be able to address or to improve the tourism sector in the country.
Cette conférence sur la résilience du tourisme tombe à point, nommée d'expérience sur la résilience de ce secteur phare dans notre programme économique, malgré ces mauvais narratifs, mais aussi de bénéficier de la bonne pratique au pays et en matière de développement d'un tourisme résilient.
And therefore, this program, in essence, will be able to bring about so much importance to the economy, and especially with regards to the economy.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, Monsieur le ministre,
and therefore the Prime Minister for this ministry,
distingués invités,
all distinguished guests, the Prime Minister, distinguished guests.
Dans un contexte de guerre et d'agression qu'il a revu de notre partie orientale, de notre territoire national,
with regards to the wars and the battles that are happening within the French country,
depuis plusieurs décennies,
with so much definitions of wars,
le tourisme de la RDC s'est montré très résilient
the
par
tourism,
sa capacité de s'adapter et de résorber les chocs à la fois extérieurs et intérieurs.
therefore the tourism sector has to be adapted for resilience, both interiorly, within and externally.
Je peux citer ici plusieurs cas de résilience.
I can be able to cite 4 elements of resilience.
L'amélioration du gouvernance par la promulgation de la loi numéro 018 19 juillet 2018 portant principal fondamental et l'adoption de la politique nationale du tourisme.
Okay, improvement of laws and policies that will be able to address tourism.
La mise en œuvre d'une série de stratégies de marketing et communication centrées sur le tourisme en tant que soft power congolais.
Placing together marketing and promotion strategies to be able to ensure tourism promotion is addressed in Congo.
L'utilisation de l'événement comme catalyseur du changement des narratifs sur la destination touristique en RDC.
To be able to also utilize the foreign exchange earnings that are gotten from DRC Congo.
Par exemple, le Léopard Business Village, lors de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations de football pour partager l'expérience avec le Royaume du Maroc.
For example, what has been seen that tourism can be able to bring about sports and earnings. For example, what has taken place in Morocco from the African Cup of Nations.
L'organisation de relance des activités touristiques dans les 26 provinces du pays à travers le concept Semaine congolaise du tourisme, dont la dernière édition a eu lieu à Lubumbashi.
For example, also what has taken place in Congo, like the organization of the IUDS conference.
L'accompagnement de l'encadrement du secteur privé à travers leurs activités, à l'occurrence DRC Me Travel, en collaboration avec le Kenya Tourism Award Congo, River en collaboration avec la République du Congo, l'élection Miss Universelle.
And also, importantly, also having collaborations with Congo, Kenyan affair, to be able to improve also what is happening in tourism in Congo.
Cette expérience mérite d'être signée comme faisant désormais partie des bonnes pratiques congolaises en matière de résilience des secteurs telles que l'importance de notre participation à la 4e édition en nous réservant d'autant d'idées et écoutant les autres partagent leurs bonnes pratiques.
And therefore, this conference has served as a good example to be able to obtain so much experience from what is being done in other countries that can be able to be adapted to DRC Congo.
Et remercie notre pays frère, ou la République frère Kenya pour l'hospitalité.
And therefore, he wants me to appreciate Kenya for being granted a lot of hospitality for the DRC Congo in general.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, Monsieur le ministre et chers participants, je vous remercie pour votre attention particulière.
His Excellency, the Prime Minister, Honorable CS and the other ministers, I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
May I invite Agosto from the Republic of Angola.
Thank you very much, Minister Rebecca Miano, Your Excellency, Prime Cabinet Secretary, and all protocol observed. I have just a few words about our participation in this event. First, to thank you, the government of Kenya, for the invitation. It has been a very fruitful discussion, and we have learned a lot, and we understand that now resilience should be part of our politics and our institutional framework. Angola, as you may know, has been through a structural challenge from the impacts of the pandemic to historical constraints related to connective infrastructure and international position. So right now, we are putting our resilience policy through the following aspect. First of all, we have starting the process of administrative simplification and visa facilitation. Angola now has a visa-free policy for more than 100 countries, so we are now more open to the world. In second, we are strengthening the air connectivity and the investment in infrastructures. The construction of the new airport and the Lubito corridor are both infrastructures that Angola are building that may allow resilience in the future. So just to finish, we understand and we have learned in this meeting that resilience in practice means medium-term strategic planning, data-driven governance, sustainable public-private partnership, and effective regional cooperation. Angola remains fully committed to work with the states, African states and the UN tourism to strengthen preparedness and response to disruption. So thank you very much, and I hope I come back here again. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And now we have Honorable Edmond Bartlett, the Minister for Tourism in Jamaica and the founder of the Global Tourism, Resilience and Crisis Management Center.
Thank you very much, esteemed Secretary of Tourism and Wildlife in the great country of Kenya, His Excellency or Prime Secretary of the Cabinet, distinguished ministers and partners all in tourism, and particularly those who are involved in the global governance of resilience in the tourism space. I'm delighted to participate with you in the closing exercises of this most powerful expression and statement from the great country of Kenya to the world regarding the importance of building resilience in tourism. Tourism being the most vulnerable of all industries, but in its vulnerabilities have shown resilience beyond any other industry. Its capacity to respond and respond quickly and bounce back, as we say, becoming the mainstay of economic recovery programs in all countries. Tourism, therefore, makes that statement to the world that it is not sufficient to worry about disruptions. It's only sufficient indeed if we can respond to disruptions in real time, because a wait is impatient of building a future. A wait is contradictory to the spirit of being able to thrive after disruptions. And so I wanted to make that point as we close and to indicate that the resilience movement in tourism, which I have the honor of being the founder of, makes one big point, that today's disruptions have changed dramatically. And the most critical change has been influenced by the technology that is going to entail the new future for tourism, AI and digitization. And today I'm to announce that we will be putting to the world the first and most seminal thought leadership presentation, a book on destination reputational resilience. And that book will help to define the way forward to respond to these fake news, misinformation, and disinformation that has been playing havoc to destination integrity across the world and individual integrity, and have so misplaced our positions, and is forcing for a new story to be told, our story. And it forces us to consider that critical importance of being able to tell your story in real time. Because then and only then will you be able to position yourself appropriately in the global space. So, Madam Minister, we have had a very strong and abiding partnership expressed in codified form with a formal memorandum of understanding, which we signed in 2019 and which today we will renew. And after that renewal, we will launch the book. And then, of course, the Declaration of Nairobi on tourism resilience will ensue. And that declaration will be the statement that will guide us onto the next iteration of the Global Resilience Day, which will take place in Malaga, in Spain, on the 17th of February, 2027. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Before we invite our chief guests, we have only 2 activities. I'll invite the PS to take us through the signing of the MOU. Then we are going to launch a book. Then we'll invite our chief guest.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I will not read the statement because it's long, but today, let me just read the first part. The government of the Republic of Kenya and Jamaica have entered into a formal understanding to deepen the long-standing ties of friendship between their 2 countries. As has been indicated, an MOU was signed in 2019, and today we are signing a renewal of the same MOU that outlines a number of areas that the two countries will collaborate. With that, therefore, I'm requesting if the team is ready, our honorable ministers, Honorable Rebecca Miano, and the honorable minister from Jamaica, to be on the signing table. And then we'll have witnesses, a witness from Jamaica and from Kenya standing behind as they sign. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, this memorandum of understanding, which was signed originally in 2019, is being renewed today. And I'm very pleased and proud to indicate that there are two critical outcomes from this memorandum, which is now a reality. One is the establishment of the Global Tourism Resilience Center at the Kenyatta University here in Nairobi, Kenya, and that institution has been powerful, and it has presented to Eastern Africa and the Indian Ocean a reference, institutional reference for tourism ideas and for toolkitting. I'm excited about the work that the university has done in this regard, and it has spread beyond East Africa into Europe as well as the United States. And here I'd like to commend the outgoing director, Dr. Esther. Is Esther in the audience? Please come forward, and I would like her to be acknowledged. And with her successor, the new director, he's right here with us, yes, the new director. And tomorrow we will visit the Kenyatta University to renew again our relationships as we move forward with this great movement across the world, south to south. The second outcome on our side is that, and maybe my minister colleague might not want me to steal her thunder in that regard, but because it is of such great importance to us in tourism in terms of the legal and legislative framework that must guide the future of our industry, we are very humbled to suggest that we will be borrowing your Tourism Regulatory Authority as one of the critical elements for the managing of the governance of tourism in Jamaica.
All right, let's appreciate that moment with beautiful claps, marking the MOU signing of the two governments. Thank you so much. Once again, a round of applause to that moment. Asanteni sana.
sins before we actually launch. For my sins, I've had this year 50 years of public service. So this year is my 50th year as a public representative in the Parliament of Jamaica. And someone, not me, someone has decided to create someone, not me, has decided to create a tabletop with pictorial representation of my journey in 40 years, from 1980 to 2022. Another one will have to be done in short order. But I'd like to make a presentation to the Minister of this, my book, The Journey, the Service, the Man. A time capsule of my 40 years in public life. Thank you.
Let's appreciate that moment as well. That's the launch of that particular book, which is a pictorial. And if you'd like a copy, just make sure that you hang around the Jamaican people. Speak in a nice way, you might end up with a good copy as well. Excellent moment there, being launched right here in Kenya at the 4th Global Tourism Resilience Day. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon again, everyone. This book, and apologies for my voice, it seemed to be breaking up. Every morning, Minister Bartlett and I would have conversations about world affairs. And if you check the WhatsApp communications between myself and Minister Bartlett, we have over, and if you printed it, we had over 4 reams of conversations. And when I say 4 reams, I'm talking about a letter size pack paper. And we took the conversations, the notes, as well as the presentations and the lectures, and codified it into this book. We thought it was important because resilience is usually articulated jointly with pandemics, epidemics, climate shocks, and other threats. But not many persons associate resilience with digital concerns, and it is emerging. Since the implementation or since the popularization of Gen AI, many persons have the technology and the capabilities now to create realities that they want. So this book speaks about this, but beyond that, the book goes a little bit further. The last chapters actually have a strategy that you can use to mitigate against these things. It has a strategy that you can use to prepare for and anticipate and manage and recover from our destination reputational crisis. So I'm encouraging you to buy the book. It will be available on Amazon mid-March. It's being finalized by the reviewers. The final version should also have an app that you can also use to triangulate information about concerns that you may have. I will actually, that was the last thing. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Professor Waller. So he indicated that the last chapter is critical, and it has a 100-day destination, reputation, resilience, implementation roadmap. And that we leave with you. So, sorry we don't have a copy for everybody, but we certainly would like to give the first copy of this book, and it's a historic book. It is the first ever publication on the destination, reputation, resilience, in relation to tourism written by anyone, anywhere in the world. And so I'm going to ask our Prime Cabinet Secretary to be gracious enough to accept the first copy of this book to be made available anywhere in the world, right here in Nairobi, Kenya, from a brother of African descent to a father of Africa.
Truly is one love. Let's appreciate that moment for the signed copy, first copy, to our Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary. The brotherhood continues. Right there, thank you so much. We appreciate that moment. And as you've heard, you'll also get your copy at Amazon or the final copy. Back to you, our Cabinet Secretary. Thank you for the one love.
Thank you very much for that session. I would like also to say that the memorandum of understanding that we have signed, one of the outcomes that we will get as Kenya is assistance in developing an AI tool for tourism in Kenya. They've done it and we will partner. And so there are very many things that will come out of this partnership. What the minister from Jamaica didn't tell us is that he's the longest serving minister of tourism in the world. And that's why the book is very, very rich. I think before we invite you, Your Excellency, we are going to sign the communique or read the communique that contains the outcome of this conference. Yeah. So the Nairobi Declaration on Global Tourism Resilience, adopted at the 4th Global Tourism Resilience Day Conference and Expo at Kenyatta International Convention Center, Nairobi, on 17th February 2026. Back in 2023, the United Nations General Assembly declared the 19th of February as the annual Global Tourism Resilience Day. The resolution, initiated by Jamaica and co-sponsored by 94 member states, underscores the international community's recognition of tourism resilience as a development priority. The global recognition builds upon the momentum generated by the previous 3 annual Global Tourism Resilience Day conferences and expos, all held in Jamaica. The day serves as a platform for advancing dialogue, partnership, and practical strategies to enhance the sector's capacity to anticipate, withstand, and recover from crisis.
So we, the ministers, policymakers, industry leaders, development partners, academics, and stakeholders assembled in Nairobi between February 16th to 18th, 2026, and guided by the theme, Tourism Resilience in Action, from the crisis response to impactful transformation, reaffirm our shared commitment to strengthening resilience across the global tourism sector. Therefore,
recognizing tourism as a fundamental driver of economic growth, employment, cultural exchange, and sustainable development, whilst acknowledging its growing exposure to climate, health-related, geopolitical, economic, technological, and social risks, and affirming that resilience is a strategic imperative for the survival and prosperity of the sector.
Do hereby adopt this Nairobi Declaration as a shared commitment to collective action, guiding our path towards 2030 and beyond. Article 1, institutionalizing resilience. Embed comprehensive resilience frameworks within the national tourism policies and legislative instruments to integrate crisis preparedness, risk assessment, and business continuity planning into destination management. Strengthen dedicated resilience units and foster cross-sectoral coordination.
Article 2 is financing resilience. We shall mobilize sustainable financing for resilient infrastructure, digital transformation, and climate adaptation, encourage blended finance and public-private partnerships to de-risk investments, and support small and medium-sized enterprises in building recovery capacity, establish a dedicated tourism resilience fund in every region to support preparedness, recovery, and sustainable growth.
Harness, that's Article 3, data innovation and technology. Harness data, artificial intelligence, and predictive analytics to anticipate and managing emerging crises. To promote digital transformation across the tourism value chain, supported by robust information systems enabling consistent measurement and reporting of resilient indicators. Encourage collaborative resource and knowledge exchange through institutions such as the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center.
We shall truncate Article 4, which is climate and nature positive tourism. Article 5, inclusive and human-centered resilience. Article 6 is regional and global cooperation. And now on implementation and accountability, develop measurable resilience indicators aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, create information systems capable of monitoring and reporting on resilience progress at national and regional levels, encourage annual progress reporting and periodic peer reviews to share learning and address challenges. And in conclusion,
by 2030, we envision a global tourism sector that is, one, more resilient to the shocks of an uncertain world, more inclusive in the distribution of opportunity, more sustainable in its environmental and social practice, and more collaborative in its governance.
Through shared leadership, we pledge ourselves to a future-ready, adaptive, and transformative tourism sector, one capable not merely of withstanding challenges, but of shaping a better world in their wake. And this is adopted in Nairobi, Republic of Kenya, this 17th day of February 2026. It is co-signed
by the Honorable Rebecca Miano, HGH, Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife, and
Edmond Bartlett Curtis, Minister of Tourism, Jamaica, plus our colleagues from DRC and from South Sudan, from Angola, and witnessed by all the delegations here today and all the participants who we have converted to our faithful witnesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Chief guest, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, as this conference and Expo draws to a close, we have nothing but deep gratitude, first to you for creating time to come and join us today, and to our guests, organizers, participants, and everyone who contributed to its success. For the last 2 days, we have surveyed the shifting landscape of risk that now defines our world. We have drawn lessons from recent storms, both literal and metaphorical. We have charted the vulnerabilities that remain. More so, we have forged a conviction that resilience can no longer remain a postscript to crisis. It is the architecture upon which global tourism must be built. With those remarks, it is now my privilege and honor to invite our Prime Cabinet Secretary, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, to address us and close this forum. I respectfully request that we all stand and invite him with a hand clap.
PSS, captains of the tourism sector, leading in diversified tourism products, expanding beyond traditional wildlife safaris to include cultural tourism, ecotourism, MICE tourism, sports tourism, gastronomy tourism, and digital innovation in travel services. Additionally, we are committed to strengthening public-private partnerships enhancing sustainability standards to protect our natural heritage, from the iconic savannas of the Masai Mara to our pristine coastline along the Indian Ocean. We are also building capacity for crisis preparedness, data-driven decision-making, and climate adaptation. As we progress with this narrative of tourism resilience, let us keep in mind that resilience means inclusion. Therefore, we should ensure that local communities, youth entrepreneurs, women-led enterprises, and small businesses are fully incorporated. The role of governments is to link them to financing, technology, and global markets. Further, I call upon you present here today to collaborate, since solitary action is as good as mute. The exchange of knowledge among nations represented here today has been inspiring. We have seen how innovation, policy coherence, and resilience, investing in resilience, crisis response, data-driven defense, and regional cooperation can transform vulnerability into opportunity. As we come to a close of this fourth Global Tourism Resilience today, the conference and Expo, I urge each one of us to prioritize young entrepreneurs, women-led enterprises, and small businesses. Here, three key commitments come to mind. One, the need to mainstream resilience into every tourism policy and investment decision. Two, the imperative of accelerating climate action within the tourism sector. And three, to strengthen global partnerships that will enable shared learning and coordinated responses to crisis. For Kenya, we are ready and committed to continue working with all partners of tourism, resilience organizations, governments, academia, and the private sector to advance a tourism sector that is sustainable, inclusive, and future-ready. Allow me to extend our sincere gratitude to the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center in Jamaica, organizers, sponsors, academia, speakers, exhibitors, and delegates who have made this conference a success. In conclusion, I beseech you all, as you depart from Kenya, to carry with you the outcomes of this conference. Yes, but also an unbendable resolve to build a prosperous tourism sector with unshakable shock absorbers. Before I leave the podium, let me take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of the Ministry of Tourism, led by Rebecca Miano, giving it a solid profile. The figures, as I was telling her, are looking good. In 2023, tourism earned us about 268 billion Kenya shillings. By end of 2024, the figures that have come through indicate that it rose to about 452 billion Kenya shillings. That is a rise of about 65 to 68% in terms of revenues. And we have also seen more international tourists. I think we got about 2.4 million from the international arena. And the target is to hit 5.5 million by next year, end of next year. So that is a very good trajectory, and we want to assure all the practitioners in this sector that we remain committed to developing our tourist sector to its full potential. I also want to thank all our guests who have been here. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing your experiences with us. I will definitely look at the book from somebody who has been in public service for 50 years. Unbelievable. Well done, and definitely you have made a big contribution to the whole space of tourism. So with these remarks, let me wish you safe travels as you go back home, and welcome you again to Kenya. Thank you, God bless you, and the forum is closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary. And just before you take your seat, sir, we have a request to just take 3 quick pictures, and would like you back on stage after they have cleared it. And I want to request our 2 ministers, our own very own Rebecca Miano, and of course followed by Honorable Edmond, to kindly join you for the first picture. So if you don't mind, the way we did it yesterday, Madam CS, just right there at the center. Excellent. We're going to start with that, and then just before we proceed on, let me start with that first, and then all the other ministers are going to join you for this one. If you don't mind, you could take your seats, the rest of us. Photographers, be ready. It's going to be very wide in a moment. There you go, 3 to go. May I request the other ministers kindly join us from South Sudan, Angola. Please come by as well. Kindly join this particular picture. Maybe you could take some 2 steps back to allow the photographers to have a good moment. Right? Excellent. There you go. Let's join that. And tech team, you could push that table away so that we can be able to have a good session. There you go. Lovely. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being right there and helping us in this particular one. May I request that we also have joining in this particular photo very fast, the officials from the Global Resilience Center, Jamaica and Kenya. Kindly come up very fast and join this particular picture. The officials from the Global Resilience Center, Jamaica and Kenya. Please come up right now so we can close on that. Yes. And this one as well will also be joined by the permanent secretaries, the PSS. If you don't mind, please allow the PSS to come in right here. And some of us are going to be here. All right, photographers, I don't know how you're going to do, but you can use the back there. Now, you have the permission to just walk that way so that you're able to take nice pictures, right? Excellent. Our PSS as well are in. Lovely, lovely. There you go. There you go. I think we're trying to see how we can arrange Jamaican style. There you go. Excellent, excellent. Let's look straight at the cameras. Thank you so much. That should be it. There's one more. Yeah, it's not complete until the 2 ladies are in. Thank you so much. And finally, I'm going to request the CEOs to kindly come. And the CEOs will come here at the front. You just stand at the front so we can have one big picture. All right? CEOs, please come. Please come. Right here. And I'm going to request one more time that we stand. Come right here, all the way to the end, right there. Excellent. There you go. And the other CEOs on the other end, please come right here. Even private sector, please come right here at the center. There you go. And then I'm going to ask the delegates at the back, kindly take a step forward. Just one more step forward, just to ensure that the photo looks as good as it can. We have some more space on this at the end. There you go. Excellent. Lovely, lovely. This is beautiful. Excellent. Could you kindly jump up? It looks like it could work that way. Yes, up there, up there, up there. Yes, there you go. There you go. Excellent. We're just trying to organize it very well so it looks good. Lovely. Gentlemen, the 2 gentlemen at the end, come this side. We have more space for you here so we can have a clean photo. Excellent. Lovely. I think we got it now. I think we got it now. Excellent. So in 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. Thank you so much. We're going to request that the Prime Cabinet Secretary remains right there for the national anthem as the rest of us take our seats. Thank you so much. So we can have our anthem and then we can close. Thank you so much once again. Right Honorable Prime Minister. We're going to close with the national anthem. I ask us all to stand. And we're going to request our Prime Cabinet Secretary to remain right there for the close of the session with the Kenya National Anthem. Over to you, the Kenya National Anthem, please. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate our chief guest, the Right Honorable, and we're going to request the cabinet ministers as well, together with our chief guest, to kindly exit. Let's allow them to exit first the hall, together with our delegates, all the ministers in the house, kindly exit, and then the rest of us, I'm going to give you directions on how we're going to have our sessions and our exits. But thank you so much. That was a beautiful moment. That marks the end of this particular day 2 of this great session we've had today, and we have had great moments of the signing of the MOUs being graced as well by the Chief Cabinet Secretary, and we appreciate that particular moment. Just like yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, if you are red tagged on your badge, we shall have a session for lunch just on first floor. The rest of the delegates with a different colored badge, especially the blues, the tent is ready with your lunch, so feel free, and everybody shall enjoy some good lunch.